Stephen Crowder put out a video a few days ago showing that when you search for him, and in particular Change My Mind, it wasn't there. There were videos of it, but it was Blaze TV, it was people criticising him, all the rest of it. Now, me and Aidan had a little chat for that. We both did a little search of him, and we were like, it was packed. It was all there. I mean, I am subscribed to him. I don't get notifications for him, but I am subbed to him. So we were like, well, maybe it was one of those things, because we know Google, we know YouTube puts the thumb on the scale, as they say. I'm like that. They put the thumb on the scale, don't they? Of course they do. They definitely do. They get accused of it, and it gets shown to be true all the time. So we assumed that he complained about it publicly, it went viral as anything, and then they changed it back. But what seems to be the case, as he has now done in a new video, it seems to be the case that it's outside of the US. We can search for Stephen Crowder. This doesn't usually go this way, does it? GDPR, we're the ones getting censored usually. We're the ones with the restricted results. But this time, it is the US of A. If you live there and you search Stephen Crowder, apparently you're having big problems right now. And Crowder has not only done his little videos saying this seems to be a thing, he's now done a second video where he is crowdsourcing evidence. And as I think he touched on in the actual video himself, this is getting literally millions of dollars worth of research from his audience crowdsourced. It is a phenomenal development. And the fact that he is going through with this and collecting evidence shows that there's legal action in the future. And what really, really excites me about this, and what obviously you can't even talk about publicly so much, is this legal action is going to relate to the accusations that are already live, the admittance that is already there, because they've all admitted it, of election meddling, of saying we've got to make sure Trump doesn't win, we've got to get him out of the White House, we've got to sort this out, the country's in chaos, we need to save them from these whites, all that other rhetoric, all that other nonsense, that bit by bit more and more evidence is coming out. Right now, Stephen Crowder is crowdsourcing a case of his own. And he can cry and moan about censorship and being squished all he wants. And ultimately, who cares? The papers aren't going to get behind him, all the rest of it. I mean, I've got Reclaim the Net here. I haven't got a clue who these people are. But nobody's covering this. You know, the most popular conservative YouTuber going, outside of maybe Ben Shapiro. And nobody's talking about it. It doesn't exist. I can show you my Google search, man. I just searched Stephen Crowder, news tab there. We've got Resonate, NQD, we've got Vulture. For me, that's, the Rebel, there you go. Although they've just been ejected, haven't they? We got, and then 11th of June, nothing. Nobody's talking about this. But it is huge. Keep an eye on this, because this is election meddling. At least in terms of an argument, they might not get it through. But it all adds up, doesn't it? Trump and the White House have been asking people to send evidence and all the rest of it. And as a final thought on all this before I got a boogie, but it's exciting, but we don't know which way it's going to go. You know, they already threatened to put or they leaked that they were going to put some powers on the FCC. I'm not particularly happy with that. I don't know how the American government's going to go with all this. You know, New York, they're banning words, which is just so far removed from what America was built on. It is insane. But again, I bring it back to what I've said a few times. I think we might be in a position where we are, as a planet, now relying on Donald Trump to save the internet. And I love saying those words, because I never, ever thought I'd be saying that. But it's true, man. People need to be protected. Because if you allow this for Crowder, if you allow it for people you don't like, then it's going to happen to the people that you do like. And in fact, that gets me onto this what are they called? Nerd Summit? I don't know. I don't watch him. But they've done this phenomenal video. And it's been picked up just because gay and lesbian were some of the highlighted words. For example, You could say straight, but you couldn't say gay. You could say heterosexual, but you couldn't say homosexual as it relates to your videos being monetized. To go back to how they actually ran the experiment, I think they got like 35. Sorry. Manually tested 15,000 words. It's right there. And what they did was they uploaded a tiny clip, like 1 second, no audio. Oh! That's my alarm to go get my daughter. I'm coming, darling. I'm coming. I'm really late today. But yes, what they did was video, no audio, nothing that would trigger it. Just the title. That was it. They just did the titles. And that's how they found that certain things were okay. So like happy struggles was monetized. Gay struggles wasn't monetized. And I'm kind of glad, here we go. This is what they've gone here. Bigoted bots to determine whether certain content should be demonetized, specifically LGBTQ, blah, 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 videos. Now, it's good that, from a certain point of view, it's good that the identity politics crowd are picking up on this. But again, this is always the way with this nonsense where we should be talking about this in terms of people, human beings, our ability to express ourselves, all of us, not just dudes who suck dick, not just dudes who cut the dick, it's everyone, all of us, because ultimately with the 15,000 it showed issues everywhere, but again, the fight on Crowder, that getting him demonetized, all the just squashing him and all the rest of it, he's expanding. He's hiring. When we talk about online, media in Meltdown and all that, no. The Daily Wire expanding. All the right-wing ones, even if the opinion ones, they are expanding bigger and better all the time. What is dying right now is fake news. And I'm not saying that Crowder doesn't present facts in a certain way, but all the shit that you've laid at his feet, all the stuff that you've done to attack him and bring his point of view down in order ultimately to influence elections, is now screwing you. This is screwing people on the left more than it is screwing people on the right. Because people on the right are used to being shat on for the slightest indiscretion. In the UK right now, our Prime Minister is being told off for using the word surrender. And I'm talking a full-on political meltdown, because he described a bill to keep us in Europe, or to avoid no deal with Europe, as the surrender bill. And it is a fucking surrender. Nobody signs like anything like that unless they've just lost a war. That's a fact, right? They're in meltdown about that. But now they're sharing his speech that he did today, calling him a fascist. A fascist. So the word surrender is bad. but they'll just go, oh, he's a fascist, him. That's the most disgusting thing you could say about someone, really, isn't it? Other than maybe Nazi. Nazi's maybe just a touch worse. I don't know. But anyway, these people who put centre and right people under this relentless pressure to really behave themselves are now getting screwed, because they're used to just talking openly. And the biggest one for this is the special protections they've tried to create around LGBT people, because they refuse to treat them just like normal human adults who can handle criticism, who have a sense of humour even. Because they're being treated that way, because of the Carlos Maza nonsense, there's now special rings drawn around them. That's why these videos get demonetized. That's why they're being flagged. Not to mention the fact that YouTube hasn't got the balls to actually stand by the First Amendment, which is where it exists. No. It's kowtowing to Pakistan. It's kowtowing to all these ridiculous countries with astonishingly censorious work. I mean, we can hammer on here about people, and yeah, we've got bad stuff here, but not like some of these other places that they want the money from. They're expanding in India right now. The gay rights movement isn't even close to what it is in the Western world there. I mean, they're getting better. They're getting a hell of a lot better. And do you know why? Capitalism. The middle class is expanding. People actually have the time, effort, and energy to look at these things. They're not just surviving anymore. I've been to India, man. I've seen how bad it was. I tell you as a side note, though, when I was in India, I was really jealous. And this is going to sound terrible without context, but some of the poorest people I met, I really envied the sense of community, because they were surviving, literally surviving. Like, one woman would be, the women would be taking turns to look after 15, 20 kids at once. And yeah, there's bad, there's disease and malnutrition and all the rest of it. But the other side of it, there was something essentially human, that our obsession with independence and self-reliance, we've lost, that they had, and I really, really envied it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love having Wi-Fi and all the rest of it and clean water, obviously. I'm not an idiot. But it really taught me that there's nothing shameful in relying on someone. There's nothing, if you've got a significant other that's going to be a homemaker, that is a phenomenal thing. He or she is going to be part of the community. They're building a good home. They're producing good kids. They're keeping an eye on it. They're like the glue. And this obsession with going out and working and just, me, I'll do it. And it's like, no, man, me and my girl take turns cooking. Because sometimes we're just like, I can't, just feed me, take care of me. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's a shame, man. Some places in America now, you can actually get a knock on the door by the police if you let your kid play outside. We're losing this shit. It's a shame. Anyway, I gotta go, but before I do, I gotta talk about this, man. I'm going to get a little bit MRA on you now, because this is gov.uk. This is the Prime Minister has done this press release. In fact, is it actually signed at the bottom? No, there's nothing there, but it says there, PM steps up UK effort to get every girl in the world into school. This fucking disgusts me. I know. At just first glance, that might seem like a good thing. Obviously, women, we're in this duality right now, aren't we? Where like, oh no, hijabs are fine. It's all about choice. But also, women are severely oppressed across the planet, and it's like, well, okay, I'll just exist, thinking that thinking that those two things exist simultaneously, and we're not sort of, if you discuss the thing of it, it's like racist, and it's like, no, actually, just really don't want women to be abused. And I don't want their clitoris cut off at 4 years old. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? As is what happens to 5,000 girls in this country every year, and we don't even find out about it until they're between the ages of 25 and 30. We don't even find out. There's a 20-year time bomb there. So who knows how much that 5,000 figure is going to go up. But anyway, let's get back to this. Prime Minister steps up UK effort to get every girl in the world into school. Brilliant. I think this is good. Whatever your views are on foreign aid, I know some of it is ridiculous. It is. And I'll tell you why. There's the example Stossel gave the other day. There's that company, there's that shoe company in America. And for every pair of shoes they sell, they send to an impoverished place. I think it was a certain place in Africa that they're focusing on at the moment. And what they did by sending those shoes was they closed down all the shoemakers in that area. They're gone. Because nobody was going in. So the person who lives locally that makes a living from making and selling shoes is now out of business. That person cannot support their family. That person cannot contribute to the economy. That person cannot pay their rent or their mortgage or whatever. They can't pay their bills. It's gone. Because rich, white, middle class, primarily Americans have dictated this thing of aid, and I don't think it works. I think investment works, and that's kind of an example as to why it doesn't work. Outside of the fact that this nonsense is corrupt, massively corrupt, it just doesn't help. I'll tell you what helps: personal freedom, capitalism. That the countries that have rejected socialism in Africa are the ones that are thriving. Tom Shoes, that's the one. And here's the thing about Tom Shoes, sorry. It's not a bad thing they did. They did it. It's like so many of these things. But this is the problem with central planning. Really good intentions destroy their economy. Keeps them poor. And this shit goes along. I mean, we've got universal credit, and not universal credit, tax. Like a tax rebate if you're in a low income thing here, and all it does is keep wages low. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's the example with the shoes. I generally don't like a lot of money that goes abroad because of the corruption and ridiculous NGOs, and it's wasted. But I will say that $500 million for education, I like that. I honestly like that. I really, really do. We're talking about war zones, hopefully anyway. I know most of it's going to get frittered away. I know. But we're talking about people in refugee camps and stuff like that, setting up schools. I can get behind that. I honestly can. Because what they're going to do, they can't pay the teacher. There's a it's a thing there. So I kind of get it. I like $500 million to educate kids across the planet. Yeah, let's fucking do it. It's good for all of us then, man. Then we can bring these well-educated people in. Then they can rebuild their countries, and we can trade with them, and we can all rise together. I can get behind that. Honestly, I can. We're a rich country. Let's do it. But this is what got me. Remember this thing about every girl in the world? Let's go to the press release. New UK funding to give millions of girls around the world the chance to go to school and get a quality education has been announced by Boris Johnson. The Prime Minister has announced £515 million to help get over 12 million children. And this is the important part. 12 million children, half of them girls, into school. What the fuck? So our country, our Prime Minister has announced $500 million to educate impoverished children around the planet, boys and girls. They're going to open up schools for both sexes. But for some reason, identity politics and intersectionality has gone so far now, and men are so astonishingly demonized that they don't dare admit that half of these 12 million impoverished children have got penises. They won't. They're terrified to frame it this way. This is madness. PM steps up the effort to get every girl in the world into school. This will boost blah blah blah, improve women's rights, girls, women, blah blah blah. Globally, 131 million girls do not go to school. and again, it's just a huge. I'm not even going to go into it because you know what? Piss off. I'm not even. No. Here's the thing, men. Right? This $500 million is a lot of money to spend just to virtue signal, and you know. I agree. Education is phenomenal. Of course it is. Especially when it's your root stuff, your maths and your English. And you know what? Maybe teaching people how to run a business, that'd be really good, wouldn't it? If they actually bothered to start doing that. But that'd only happen with private schools. It disgusts me, though, that the same people who have influenced this kind of language and this kind of attitude, where we don't even dare mention that we want to educate boys, and these are the most vulnerable boys on the planet, by the way. Refugees, asylum seekers, war zones. These are the most vulnerable boys on the planet, but because they've got a cock, they don't even get a mention. They won't even dare say the word male or boys. They won't. And these same people that go on about representation matters, trans people have got to play, trans actors play trans characters, constantly hammering on about language and harm and all this other shit, don't dare even say the word boys when boys have been falling behind in education for the last 30 years. They have. More women get degrees. More girls, obviously, do better at school. Boys are failing. And it just shows the insane inconsistency with these people. They have zero morals and zero principles. Because there's the reality that the ones who know what they're doing, they know that boys are failing at school. They know that this women in STEM stuff is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But they want the money and they want the virtue signal and they want to protect their jobs. Whilst boys and men are severely, year on year, falling behind in education more and more. So what do we get? We get this. Girls need more help. Piss off. Piss off. And you're going on about toxic masculinity. We don't even dare say the word boys. We don't even dare say men. This is the Prime Minister of our country. Doesn't even dare put out a thing that says man or male or boy. And we're wondering why suicide rates are going up because we've done nothing but talk about toxic masculinity and all this nonsense for 20 years now. Women run schools. Women bring up men. Single parent homes are going up and up and up. young boys get almost exclusive access to women in terms of the role models more and more each year. But then when suicide rates go up, when boys just don't want to engage with anything, we go, oh, well, it's toxic masculinity, isn't it? Maybe it's because they don't have male role models. Maybe it's because our education system won't even dare mention boys as being a problem. I mean, I've got a little girl. I'm a father. I've got a girl, right? So I've not got skin in the game in terms of this boy bringing up boys or whatever. I know my girl's going to do well. She's sharp as a whip. She's funny as fuck. And she's charming. You instantly fall in love with her. And that's the important thing. I've taught her the verbal as much as I can. Because if teachers and tutors and work experience people enjoy being around her, they're going to want to teach her things. And that was my approach. But the school I sent her to, the reason I picked that school, and I would have gone mental if she hadn't gotten in it, I checked the diversity statement, and they had the same nonsense that they have to print. But then the only thing that they'd added themselves was a part about boys falling behind in education, and that is their current focus. So I sent my girl to a school who is focusing on boys, because you know what? Maybe, hopefully, they've got a little bit of common sense around them. It's a religious one as well. She's going to pray. I can't wait till she comes home and asks me about God. I'll be like, well, you know... Let's sit down. I'll be happier talking about. Oh yeah, she shaved my hair. Look at that. she loves. Oh, this long story. She just loves buzzing it. She keeps trying to do my bum and everything. But yeah, important takeaway from this, guys. Language. If language is so important, why do we keep talking about the patriarchy? Why do we keep talking about toxic masculinity? Boys are failing. Women under 30 are out earning men. But we won't talk about that, will we? And you know why? Because women hit 30 and go, oh my God, what have I done? I've been told for all these years that winning in life is becoming the CEO. And by 30, I got close enough to the CEO, climbing that ladder to realise, holy shit, that is a bad life. It is horrible. And the reason there's more male CEOs... The truth here, it's got nothing to do with patriarchy and all the rest of it. It's because men are just biologically, evolutionarily more hardwired. It is just within us more to get more enjoyment of being out to support our family. Working 80-hour weeks, grafting like a motherfucker so that your kids are brought up well. That it is just wired into more men, and the psychos who actually want to be CEOs, because that is a horrible life that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemies. Oh, you're on 200 grand a year, great, but you're miserable. You're sending half of that to a findom just to try and equalise how awful your entire mind is with just working relentlessly. And more women realise sooner that that's not the life they want. They want to balance it out. And we demonise that. Jesus Christ, the last 4 years spending... I've worked here and there, part-time, freelance, but generally I've been a full-time parent, and oh my God, it has been the best fucking 4 years of my life. Honestly, I nearly cry thinking about it. And the fact that these cunts that write these stupid fucking press releases and go on about the fucking patriarchy and fucking intersectional feminism are lying to all of us, and they are destroying people's happiness on a fundamental, phenomenal level. Because they start coming out with how women are burdened with the majority of the childcare. Fuck you for even beginning to label spending time with your kids as a burden, and attaching a monetary. Oh, there's a gender pay gap. No, there's a fucking parenting page gap. And how dare you associate money with the time I've spent with my daughter? You fucking greedy, ignorant scumbags. You power-hungry socialist cunts. You are taking away and destroying millions of people's chances at happiness because you brainwashed them from fucking birth with the idea that staying at home and supporting your family has got any kind of shame attached to it whatsoever. You tell them that being a CEO, that's the marker, that's how you know you've won. Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. You fucking scumbags. I hate every one of them, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. My worst fear of my girl being at school, more than of being bullied, she'll be bullied at some point. Someone's going to pick on her, someone's going to push her. It's already happened, someone pushed her. She said, weeks ago, she still goes on about it, bless her. My worst fear is that one of these intersectional cunts fills her head with this nonsense about her being a victim, about her being lower in society because they are misogynistic assholes. And to put any kind of shame into her head that actually bringing up kids is anything other than the most phenomenal gift you could ever have in your entire life. Fuck these people. Fuck every single one of them. They are a disgrace. And they're the reason why Boris Johnson is Prime Minister and while Donald Trump is going to be the fucking president in 2020. And you know what? For all his grabbing by the pussy nonsense and all that other shit and his lies and his mistakes and all his other things, man, it's better than that. It's better than this. They're all talking about systems systematically destroying countless lives by bringing shame into parenting. Fuck the lot of you. Fuck all of you. Scumbags. Guys, I really got to go get my little girl. I'm going to be late, and if I don't leave within 2 minutes, she's going to be sat there. Not that it makes a difference. They call a name. I'm first there. I'm always there, man. I don't have my phone in me. I mean, I do. I hear the door unlocked. I'm like, my phone's gone. I want my baby girl to see that I'm here. I'm ready. I want to know about a day. She just stands there now. Every other kid in there runs straight out. But my little girl, that's it. She just takes it under advisement. Dad's here, is he? Okay, cool. He's not going anywhere. You know what? She's right. She's a smart little cookie. Sidewalk closed. Just before we go, I said my fiance and I split time raising our son. I get mornings, she gets nights. Yeah, dude, I did something very, very similar. Yeah, kind of. Me and my girl split time, and it's phenomenal. She puts her to bed, and that's not a chore. She doesn't get to see her in the morning. She doesn't get to see her in the day as much. She gets a wonderful sort of like, it might be 5 minutes, it might be an hour, where she just really spends some time in there with her, and it's phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. Fuck these scumbags. I can't wait to go and see my daughter's face when that door opens. I can't wait to see a little smile. And the proudest thing I've ever done in my life, and I am going to make mistakes, the proudest thing I've ever fucking done in my fucking life is try my damnedest to give her the best start that I possibly could. And these intersectional cunts are just trampling all over that. Fuck you. Fuck every one of them. Guys, don't forget, November 2nd, it's the top link in the description. Come and see us live. It's going to be awesome. I got to go. I really got to go. Otherwise, I'm going to get in trouble. And I was already late today. The teacher looked at me and I was like, I'm sorry I'm late.